What's up, guys? JP coming at you, bringing you the movement with the other shepherds. Cam.
The other?
I'm a shepherd, the other ones.
Okay, I just know like it's like a secondary shepherd or something.
Really?
Can you just not say hi?
Hi.
Get this right, man.
Wilson,
What's up?
the producer with Ranked O.
What's up?
And a special guest, Trevor Haggard.
What's up, guys?
Your good neighbor, your friendly neighbor, right?
My man.
The
Yep.
friendly neighbor. Yeah, that's right, man. So it's awesome. We're going to have a good episode. We're going to have a lot of fun on this episode. Trevor is a super duper hardworking individual that owns his own insurance agency now. So he's a fellow entrepreneur with us, stud baseball player, CrossFitter, father, husband, kind of the whole encompassing of what we believe a man is, and taking that journey of becoming a better man and stuff. So, one of the reasons we wanted to ask you on the show here is I think last week, if you've listened to the podcast, we had Coach Michael Burt on here, and it was a good insight to a man that's been coaching other people for 28 years. A lot of knowledge and experience from that aspect. And this week, it's going to be kind of insight from somebody that's up and coming, somebody that's grinding, somebody that's out there getting after it, somebody that's learning how to be a dad, somebody that's learning how to be a father, just like the rest of us. And I think most men are, but thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for coming in here.
Thanks for having me. I'm pumped.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, just little bit about your story. We think stories are powerful. I'm not saying that it has to be anything profound, but like did you grow up in the area here? Played sports? Like just a little bit of your background.
I'm from Jackson, Tennessee. So like 45 minutes away from Memphis.
Mhm.
So in the hood. No kidding.
I lived in Memphis a couple of years. Yeah, Jackson was actually not the hood.
Yeah, not the hood at all. No, just kidding. My parents had me at a super young age, so like growing up with them, they were still like in the phase of like trying to grow up too. My dad was self-employed. Mom, she's in the medical field, so like just a normal upper class, or I guess middle upper class family.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the private school and all that stuff. Played high school sports. I went to college here. I was on the baseball team here.
You played for MTSU?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
I didn't know you
Big
played
time.
for MTSU.
Yeah.
That's big
So
That's cool, man.
Height,
What position?
center field.
Center field?
Center field.
Okay. So
Got
you
some
were
wheels.
fast.
You got wheels.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
fast.
It was all right. Super good time there. I've been married for 5 years and dating Lauren for 11. So like straight out of high school, or well, juniors in high school. We've been, dating since then.
How old are you?
27.
27.
Yeah,
Man,
so
that
we
was
started dating 16.
really
Wow.
smart, man. You snatched her up before she realized she was sharper than you.
Yeah, way sharper than me. She's way
Lock
out of
it
my
down.
league.
Yeah, way out of my
Yeah,
league.
I thought that like she was probably chasing me due to baseball, but then like turned out like I wasn't actually super good at baseball, and like I didn't have a job either, so I was like, okay,
We always
she's-
call those cleat
she-
chasers.
Yeah, she's here, but she wasn't, because she was like, hey, like you're sitting the bench still,
Yeah.
but she was with me, so she.
So that's
wasn't-
real love.
Yeah, it was true love.
That actually gives me hope, because my stepson just turned 15, and he has got this new girlfriend who just seems to be an absolutely amazing young girl.
Yeah.
And we're just praying to God that he can figure out how to keep her around.
Yeah.
Because they're young, because you're thinking like, this is
Dude,
a little too young.
it
This
can
might just
happen.
be one, but hey, that's good. You were 16.
Yeah,
Like I'm
16.
gonna encourage, man, because this girl, she's sharp, and she's got him like putting on deodorant and stuff, and
Dude,
like wanting to cut his own hair.
Lauren was like all state and all the sports, like straight A's, everything, and I was like. You just never know, man.
Right.
God was like,
Yeah,
all right, Trev,
that's it right there.
don't screw this up.
Yeah, it was the perseverance. That's what it was. It was
Yeah.
it was the persistence. So we'll just
Dude.
put it that way.
Persistency, baby.
Yeah, that's right,
Persistency.
man. And
For
that was one thing we were just talking about that whenever you came in here, because obviously I have my insurance with you.
Yeah.
One of the things I was telling him is if all else fails, this dude's persistent at least, and I'll give him a shot because he's persistent. I don't really care about insurance. I don't know. I mean, for me personally, it's something that like I hope I never use. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like that
for
necessary evil kind of thing. I think it makes sense. But he would hit me up and he's like, "Hey man, I just wanted to see how things were going and everything." I'm like, "Dude, I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even checked it out and stuff." And then he'd come back and do it again. I'm like, you know what? Like that's what it takes to do something in life is that level of persistence and stuff. And if he's persistent like this, then if I do have a problem, he's going to be persistent to make sure that it's fixed. So that said a lot to me. So I would imagine you probably put that into a lot of other areas of your life.
Yeah, man. That's kind of how, just like with all the sports and everything I've ever done, with my dad, self-employed, it was all like, hey, like if you want something, go get it.
Yeah.
Like you got to work for it. Like there's nothing, like I'm not going to hand you anything. Now I never went without having anything, but if I wanted something nice, or he was like, dude, go and get it. And I was like, well, Dad, y'all have done well. Like, why don't you just give it to me?
Yeah.
Because we did well for ourselves.
He's like, dude, because I work 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
So go and get it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, if I want to be great, like I got to go get it.
Yep.
So that helps out a lot.
I want to hit on something that he said that we're still getting. I know you less than anybody in here probably, but have always heard great things and just
Thanks,
a lot
man.
of edification and for sure. And you've obviously, I mean, not to be whatever, but you earned your way in here. I mean, we've only had 5 or 6 guests ever.
For sure.
Yeah.
So so we got a lot of respect for what you've done as a young man and a young leader in the community here. But you said something about your parents being really young.
Yeah.
Coach Burt last week said something about his parents being really young, and it just kind of, it could just be a coincidence, but I think in our society today, and we were talking last episode about men having this entitlement and this, getting complacent, and there's so much of I see parents or grandparents just waiting on their kids hand and foot, and it creates weakness. It creates a weak mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
And the opposite of that is you got teenage. I don't know if they were teenagers, but like Coach was talking about, his parents were teenagers when you were born. You probably had to figure some stuff out on your own, like you said. You were growing up with them, So, but and it's a struggle, I'm sure, but it probably made you stronger than a lot of people that had the opposite of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're awesome and still do a ton for us, but for me, they were just always pushing me. Like, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to start, in the baseball team, if you want to buy a truck, if you want to work, like, go. Like, I'm not going to help.
No.
And so that for me, like, when I was a kid, sucked. I was like, dude, like, why? But then once I was, in like 8th grade and then a freshman and then a sophomore, it was like, dude, like, if I want to do it, like, I already know, like, I just got to go put in work, like, every single day. So for that, like, while I was growing up, it was awful. I was like, dude, I hate this. Like, I'm going to be the nicest dad ever. I'm going to give my kid whatever they want. But now I'm like,
no, I'm
dude,
not.
I'm going to push Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
And, just be like, dude, like, if you want it, go get it, buddy.
I tell my oldest I tell him because he hates discipline, he hates responsibility. I mean, he's your typical 15. Actually, he's not your typical 15-year-old, but he's got a lot of those traits.
Yeah.
But I tell him all the time, when you're 25, I'll bet everything I own that you look back and go, man, I'm so glad.
Oh, dude, I can tell you right now because 27. If it wasn't for that and that sort of lifestyle, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yep.
Just because it was every day, like, hey, what are you gonna do? And that's why when I was 16, like, I was waking up at like 5 a.m. and I was going to hit, and then I would stay, after school, and I would hit. I would come home and eat, and then I would go back and I would hit, just like hours and hours and hours. And folks were like, hey, man, you want to go do something on the weekend? Like, I got to hit first.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, why? Because, like, I don't want to.
Well, because it was that whole, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Like, I got nobody holding my hand.
Yeah. And that was kind of the biggest thing for me is, like, for my dad, for my high school baseball coach, they just pushed me and I fed off of that. Like, I wanted somebody to tell me, like, hey, you sucked. Or, like, hey, like, you're not going to get this. And I'm like, okay, all right, hold on, just watch. And then, like, I would just go work. But I didn't do it for, like, any, like, the fame or anything like that. Like, I didn't care if, like, folks were going to watch me hit. Like, I would literally sneak in to our high school at, like, 9 or 10 at night and just hit alone for, like, hours and just hours. It's like, I didn't care. But when it came time for the games, everybody knew. So it was like, okay, cool. Like, now I just have to take this from the sport into business and then into life.
See, I've always loved doing that too, but mine was always like I like blowing people's minds. So I would rather sweat my ass off in private when nobody can see me.
Yeah.
And then when it's game time, walk out there and people go, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Like, oh, damn it.
What have you been doing?
Yeah, what the hell have you
Apparently
been doing?
just something different than you've been doing.
Well, yeah, while you weren't working, I was working.
Yeah.
And that was, one of the things that I've always prided myself in, I mean, everybody likes having, compliments and things, and stuff like that, but I've always enjoyed walking out, when it's game time and people go, "Shit, he prepared."
Yeah.
Yep.
He's ready,
Yeah. And that was kind of one of the things for me. So my sophomore year, we went in and I wasn't going to start. Like, that was just life. We had a quarterback who was like he was a quarterback, center fielder. He was a point guard too. So like all 3 sports, super stud.
Can't you just pick one?
Yeah, right, dude. Like I'm not gonna play. Like if I do, it'll be like super random. But that whole fall, like I just worked the whole fall. Didn't do anything else. It was like, dude, my sole focus is like I'm about to win this job.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was time for the sport to start, and it was like, dude, like it was mine. And they were like, the heck, like you just came out of nowhere. And I was like, dude, because I put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody else is just like, hey, I'm gonna be here for practice. As soon as it's over, I'm the first one to leave.
Oh.
And I was just there and just stayed.
It took you a whole off season to become an overnight success, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because everybody saw the success, right? Everybody saw you, and they didn't see all the sweat equity you put into it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that people want to be like, oh, he was handed this, he was handed this, and it's like, dude, you don't understand. Like people are putting in work every day. It's just like you don't see it because you're out, scrolling through some of the Facebook stuff, or you're out, watching Netflix. But it's like, well, everyone else is sitting there working.
Right.
So,
and I think the next level of that is, as I'm listening to this conversation, is I'm thinking about when you called me the other night and I was running.
Yeah.
And so it goes from I'm working my ass off behind the scenes. Nobody sees it. I don't care that nobody sees it. It doesn't matter. I just want to perform when it's game time.
mm-hmm.
And then it becomes you start associating with other like-minded men that do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes like, how can we sharpen each other to the next level? And
Yeah.
the only reason I never answer the phone when I'm running unless it's my wife. And this is still a new thing for me. So this is like where my running is maybe different for somebody else, but I could kick some people's asses and some people could kick mine.
You ran 6 miles at a 9-minute pace.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I feel good about it because it's a lot better than running 5 miles and almost passing out like I was doing a few months ago. So
you should feel good about it. You ran 6 more miles than I did that day.
but that's exactly it. That's what I'm saying. Like I answered because I knew, like when I saw your name pop up, if you were doing a CrossFit at that moment and I called, you probably would have answered just so I could have heard what you were doing.
You'd have heard,
you know what I mean?
Clanging,
like,
absolutely.
Banging,
like, I don't know what's up, Cam.
It's like, Josh is getting better than me right now.
Oh yeah,
damn it.
No, yeah, for sure. There is a. And we talked about association, people that you're around, and that's something else that I want to talk about because. Obviously the dedication and work ethic is something, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come in here and talk, because I think that's something that a lot of kids are missing today. Yeah. And maybe it is because they're being raised by their grandparents or whatever it may be. But you're obviously in there at, 5 o'clock in the morning in the gym, working out, stuff like that. How has that affected you as far as like, maybe that was something you've always done? But how does that benefit you? What's that look like? How does that help you?
I think, dude, to be honest with you, I've done it since I was 16, and maybe it's just because like I'm a morning person and it's just easier for me to just like do it. But my thing is like, I don't have an option like now, especially with, all the kids and then the business and all that stuff. So it's like, dude, like if you don't make time for it, it's always gonna be like, oh man, I'm like super tired or something like that. And dude, like it's not easy. Like 4 a.m. comes quick. And then especially like in the winter when you're like, dude, I know it's freezing out and like I don't want to get up, but it's like, dude, I've got to do it. And I think that for me has helped because it's like, hey, you gotta do it. Like you gotta get up. You gotta push yourself.
Right.
So I'm like, it's not something that I'm just like, hey, has this helped me do X, a whole lot better? But I think it is one of those things that's like, no matter what happens, I don't care if, Hudson's up all night, Oakley's up all night, like 4 o'clock comes, like I'm getting out of bed.
Right.
So like, I just got to do it.
You made the decision. Like it's, you're not suggesting it to yourself. You're telling yourself I'm doing this.
It's 100% going to happen.
Yeah.
Like every single morning, like everybody knows that like I'm going to be there by 4:15. And if not, like something happened.
Right.
So,
and that's another thing, that we talk about is, decisiveness and things of that nature. And that's why, so you work around other people, you have friends that are your age and stuff like that. Like, what do you see today? Because obviously, SOM and the movement and stuff, what we're doing is we're trying to strengthen men, right? We're trying to help men find their calling in life and really kind of aspire to be at a different level. Because we believe 100% that sometimes the shit bowl that we live in today has been created by lack thereof men.
Yeah, for sure.
Being who they need to be, you know, stuff like that. When I make a decision to do something, it's going to get done, you know, living a life of integrity and stuff like that. So, and this isn't like a men bashing, you know, kind of thing, but first you got to realize you have a problem.
Yeah.
And then you can fix it. Where do you see the biggest deficiency in men today?
Man, I think for me, I try to surround myself with people that I want to be like and I want to actually hang out. But then B, on the flip side, I think of, okay, these guys might not be around anybody that can help them. So like I need to be around them and to like help them sort of grow. I think probably one of the biggest things is just like they don't want to own anything. Like they don't like, it's like, hey, something happens, hey, I didn't do that, man. Like, you know,
They don't want to be liable for anything.
So it's like something happens, they're like, sorry, like I didn't do that. It's like, dude, like there's some stuff like for me, like if I forget to do something, it's like, hey man, that's my fault. I gotta own it. Like I can fix it for you.
Isn't that the most freeing feeling in the world, though?
Yeah, and then there's times it sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I forgot to make a change for somebody, or if I forgot to, you know, take a payment or, you know, call somebody back, like it's a terrible feeling for me, but dude, I forgot. But I know those folks are like, hey, he's like, hey, you know, that was his fault, and he's the one that said it. So
he owned it, yeah.
But I work with customers and clients all the time.
Yeah.
Exteriors business, so in homes and stuff like that, and it's the same thing. Like sometimes you forget stuff or you do something wrong or whatever. And I have learned that lesson too, where it's like it sucks to call somebody and say, I didn't do this.
Yeah.
Or they call you and why didn't this happen? It was my fault.
Yeah.
But what I have learned is those people are so much more loyal to you because honesty in that is so rare nowadays. You know, so when you can say, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, there's no excuse. And I say that all the time. I have zero excuses.
Yeah,
I just didn't do it.
I always tell people that. I'm like, look, if you let me handle it and I'm the one that messes up, then I can take the blame for it. I can know that, hey, like I'm the one that, you know, either I didn't do it.
Yep.
So if you send it or do something else without me, then like I don't know where it is, or like I can't fix that for you. But if you send it to me, then I can take the blame for you if something goes wrong. So I feel a whole lot better about it.
But I think it's important that people understand that, because I teach my kids, like my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, I teach them like, listen, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things wrong. You're going to mess up. What compounds that is by you not taking ownership of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, just own it, man. It'll suck for a minute. You might get in a little bit of trouble, but I promise you're going to be in more trouble if you don't own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? I mean, in my business as well, same thing. It's like if you don't own it, I mean, I built my business around integrity, just being honest and straightforward, and then doing what I said I was going to do. And if I ever screw up, which has happened multiple times, it's like, dang,
Wilson.
you have to own it. You have to own it, and that's so, totally true. Because I have a customer that is still my customer because of that. We had a bad mess up, one mix up of just what I did wrong, and then I said, hey man, I screwed up, but here I'm going to make it right.
Like if homeboy is willing to admit to that, we're sticking with this
guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's been with me for years.
Yep.
So there's a lot of truth to that, though. I mean, there's nothing, especially in a world where it's rare.
Yeah.
That when somebody goes, "Yep, I screwed up, I got it," even if it wasn't necessarily your fault. Like, and I've heard it to the extreme. And if you've ever read like Extreme Ownership, that great book, and it's to the point where it's like it's raining outside, and I got wet coming out of the grocery store. Well, that's my fault.
Yeah.
How the hell is it your fault that it's raining? Well, I decided to wait and go to the grocery store when it was going to rain. I didn't check the weather. I didn't check.
Yeah.
So, and you start thinking about stuff like that. And what people don't understand is when you remove all liability, you remove control in your life.
Yeah.
But when you own it, you own your life.
Yeah,
you own what's happening.
Like for me, like, I mean, I've got a team now. So like anything those folks do, you know, somebody messes up, it's like, hey, sorry guys, that was my fault. Like I'll just wear it.
Right.
Because it's like those people work for me. So anything, you know, somebody does, it's like, hey, sorry. Like even if it was, you know, so-and-so's fault, it's like, hey, it's mine. Like I can wear that for you.
And you know what it means to them too. So like your employees and stuff like that. Like I've got people that work for me. I mean, not in the sense of like owning my business and having people working for me right now, but you know, just as a management position. But I've done that on several occasions when something comes down, and these guys that work for me, you can almost see them cringing. They're like, "Oh, I'm about to get hammered for this," and I'll be like, "Yep, that's my bad. I screwed that up." And stuff to the point where they'll hit me up and they'll go, "Dude, why'd you take the hit on that?" You know, and And for me, it's like, dude, I'll castrate you later. No, I'm just kidding. No, but for me, it's like, hey, listen, man, there's a process issue there. If you were able to make a mistake, then that's on me for putting you in a position where you weren't clear on what you needed to do.
Right.
Now, if it's blatant, we're going to have accountability there.
Yeah.
But outside of that, mistake-wise, dude, I love it when people make mistakes.
And how much more do those people have your back?
How much
there's unity is a big word right now in our society or our culture. But true unity, what is, I don't know what that is. That. But real unity is when somebody can, like I could, if I was one of Trevor's agents, I could get behind him taking the heat for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I got that dude's back now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, what was funny is one of the most attractive things in the world to me whenever I was a kid was watching men fight over who was going to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, and that's it's funny to me because like instead of going, oh, that's yours, these guys were like, I got it, man. No, man, I got it. You bought it last time. And that was like a foreign thing to me because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. Stuff like to me, I was looking at it going, why are they fighting over paying? Like they have to spend their money on it and stuff like that. And the same thing goes with ownership. Like they were trying to own the bill, and that's an attractive thing. And I think to any kind of, I want to say like, I guess you could say an alpha male or somebody that like from a masculine standpoint, ownership is a very attractive thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's pretty evident that when you take full ownership in things start to change in your life. So I would agree with you 100%. I think that is a huge problem, is because you're taught early on from an entitlement perspective is, it's not my fault. They didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that was what I think wrestling. I don't know what other sports you played, but I wrestled. And that was one of the things in wrestling that I really like. There's still a team aspect to it, but ultimately the performance was one-on-one. It was mano-a-mano, dude. Like the guy across from you, if he beat you, he was better than you. You couldn't blame it on the shortstop for letting that ball get through and you running up. I couldn't, like when I played football, I couldn't, I look at my offensive lineman and be like, dude, why didn't you block that dude that just ate my face? Like I was running the ball and you didn't block him. Like he was right in front of you, stupid. And he just, tore me up. But in a wrestling match, it really taught me that ownership aspect, because it was like, dude, if I got pinned, I got my ass whooped, like that guy was better than me that day. Sure. He beat me. I own that. That was me. So I would agree. I think that's a big thing. I think we've talked about that on several occasions about where that's a shortcoming. Anything else that stands out to you in society today from? And I know you didn't live, 40 years ago, so you don't really know how it was back then. But
probably the one other big thing is like who you're with. Like for me, it's like if you're not happy with like where you're at, then don't be around the same sort of people. It's like if you want to get to A, then like go hang around the people that are actually there now. Because I think that's the biggest thing is like you get somebody that's like, oh man, the government only sent us X, and then you've got like 10 or 15 people that are saying the same thing, and then it's all of a sudden like you're gonna moan and groan. But if you've got a room full of people that are like, dude, I want to make $1 million, or hey, like I want to change the world, then like you've got 10 or 15 people that are like, dude, I want to do that too. And it's like, how are you getting better instead of just being like, life sucks.
Yeah.
Like, life is just so bad. Like, nobody's going to help us out. But it's
woe
like,
is me.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, I'm just always trying to, like, always trying to surround myself with somebody that's, like, wanting to grow. And that's probably like, the worst trait I have is, like, my mind is just going 100 miles an hour. And Lauren is always telling me, like, dude, can we talk about something else? Like, can you just be here? I'm like, yes, I'm trying. But like, I'm always trying to think
we were just
about,
talking
like,
about that. Yeah.
I'm just always trying to think
of a deal.
I'm always just going and
same
trying to
way.
be like, dude, what can I do to help like better,
Oh yeah.
the life of somebody else or, for my family. And like that for her is just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, can't you just go to work and come home? And it's like,
I could,
I
but
wish
that's
I could.
miserable.
Yeah.
like, I wish I could. Like, I wish I was like some of my friends that was just like, they work a 9 to 5 and that's it. But it's like, I'm just not programmed like that. Dude.
Right.
Like, I can't help it.
Yeah.
And it's so tough, but like, that's just how I am.
Well, we've talked about that in the past about, finding your purpose and or your purpose finding you as we're learning. And there are those people that are just totally content or satisfied or living in their sweet spot with 9 to 5, come home. And that's awesome. And the truth is, there needs to be people like that.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I need somebody to wash my truck. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just I need people to wait tables so I can go out to eat. You know,
I have to have that. Like as a business owner, like if I didn't have that, then like I don't have a team now.
You're in
Right,
trouble.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta have it. But
Yep.
like for me, it just doesn't
Doesn't
work
work.
like
right.
that.
And that's the thing is you got to like those people associate with those people, and we'll associate with the 1%, and you know, so on and so forth. But there's people are wired differently. But my point is, if it's okay to be wired like the 9-to-5 guy, it's okay to be wired like the 1% guy.
No, those people are evil. All the people up there in the 1% are evil.
Freaking
Anybody,
capitalists,
they're bad people.
all those damn
All your
capitalists that have
dreams
made
and your
any kind of
visions
money.
and stuff.
All they
Yeah.
think about is money.
Hey, just
Making the world go round, you bastards.
Hey,
They implore you.
just go.
Employ you.
Employ you.
Not
Yeah.
employ you.
Employ you. There's a Wilson
Employ and
one.
implore.
Yeah.
We
They
implore
do
you
both.
to be an employee.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
just go ask all those multimillionaires sitting on the hill up there, they'll tell you all
Right.
those rich people are evil. All of them are evil. Every single one of them.
Every one of them.
Yep, that they're accepting money from right now.
Yeah.
So okay, to another thing I want to get into because I think it's pretty cool. So if you're listening to this and you don't know who Rich Froning is, then he's probably the godfather of CrossFit. Unbelievable work ethic. Christian based guy, father. They adopted several kids.
Yeah.
Was it like three kids?
Three.
Three kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
they adopted 3 kids. Him and his wife. Amazing couple, local Tennessee couple and stuff. And you've had the privilege to go up there and work out at his gym a couple times, and I imagine you met him while you were there and stuff. So, like, what was that like? Like, how was that?
Yeah, so I've met Rich like 3 or 4 times. He's a super cool guy. To be honest with you, like if you don't know who he is and you went somewhere, like you wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't give off, I guess like an aroma of like, hey, I'm really good at CrossFit. It's just like a super good dude.
Yeah.
Like opened up his home for us to go up to his barn and work out. So like it was real cool. But like you don't know him, like you're like, oh, he's just really fit. But like he doesn't act any different.
Right.
Super cool guy. Super famous, like in the CrossFit world.
Very famous. Yeah.
But like he's a good dude, man. Just
Yeah.
like easy going.
So we had this conversation at the gym one day, and I was asking you because I think at a certain level, and we can apply this to anything, but just from a physical perspective, when you're in the gym and you start to get to a high level, the separation between the guy that say wins the CrossFit Games and the other guys that just qualify to be at the CrossFit Games, from a physical perspective, there is very, very little separation. These guys are all like you have to be unbelievably good to suck at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah,
like
yeah, right.
I mean that's the damn truth. These guys are
big statement.
insanely fit. What do you think is the actual separate? Because you're talking about over 100 people that are there.
right.
I mean, and they're all. I mean, you can't get any fitter than these guys are. So, what is the separator for these guys?
I think just like anybody, it's gonna be your mindset. Just because like that's what is going to happen. Like if you wake up every single day and you're like, hey, my goal is to be the fittest in the world, then like you're gonna do it. And I think for Rich, like that's why he's not in the sport the way he actually was anymore, because like he's got a family, he's got 3 other businesses and all that stuff. So like he even said, he's like, it's too like I can't do it because like I can't actually take away some of that time from my family. But he was like, while I didn't have any kids, like I could do that. So like I think you have to just wake up with some of that mindset of like, I'm gonna win the CrossFit game. And it's the same for your business, but where do you draw the line at? Right. Because like for us, like I want to be the greatest at X, but I've got a family too.
Yep.
And like I've got X. Like how do you balance that?
Right. So a lot of that comes down to priorities, right? Like your prioritization. And I think like one of the things that's crazy, and Will Smith had an actual speech where he talked about they were asking how he got to the level of success that he got to, and he said, I'm obsessive and I'm unbelievably competitive. He said, I would, if I'm standing on a treadmill next to another guy and we're running and we make eye contact or something like that, and I notice that
like,
he's looking at me. And he said, I will die on that treadmill before I stop. Like I will literally die on that treadmill before I stop. And he said, that's kind of how I live my life. Now, to your point, that can be detrimental in certain cases because if you have to, it's very important that your priority matrix is in order. Like you have to know, like, and we talk about it a lot on here, as far as our alignment goes, is God, country, family, business, and in that order. So when the calling comes, God's calling always comes first. The country comes next. Yeah. If we're asked to, service or whatever it may be, that comes next, and then our family, and then business.
Yeah.
And
for those that get twisted about that, by the way, I know we've talked about this before, but people you put your country before your family. My family wouldn't have what they have without the country being what it needs to be.
Absolutely.
They can't live the way that we expect to live without our country being right.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Some people don't realize what the sacrifice that was made to have a country like we do. And that's why I hate that they're getting rid of a lot of the history in school.
That's the goal.
That's to dumb you down. That's why you need to educate your kids. The history of the United States is important. It may not be the best. It has its issues and whatever, but still, we are like a beacon of hope for a lot of people in the world.
It's not perfect, but it's the best damn model on the planet.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the best we got.
Kind of rolls back to, the last thing is like, what is wrong with some of the men now? And I do think it is like, how did the parents raise them?
Yep.
Because like for me, dude, they just pushed me so hard, like over and over again.
Oh yeah.
And like just pushed and pushed and pushed, and it's like, if you weren't pushed and like everything was handed to you, like I've got some friends that like, dude, their parents handed them a job, handed them this, a house, and it's like, dude, you never worked for anything in your whole life. Like, how are you happy with like having stuff?
Yeah.
It's like you never worked for it.
It sounds like to me that not only did they push you, but they pulled you a lot too. Because they're like, if you want something, go get it.
Yeah.
To me, that's more of pulling you along. Like, like you got it. You can do it yourself.
Oh yeah, they helped me a ton as far as like, hey, you can do it. You just gotta go do it. Yeah. Like, if you want to start, if you want to be, the best player in the state or whatever, like you can do it, buddy. But like, you got to go work for it.
We can't do it for you.
Yeah, and the greatest gift that you got from that is something nobody can ever take from you. That work ethic, that drive, that determination that came with that, being able to take those bumps and bruises along the way and keep going forward and stuff is something that nobody will ever be able to take from you. They could take your house, they could take your money, they could take everything that you physically own, and you'd get it again.
Yeah, right.
Whereas the other individuals that didn't have to earn what they had and it was given to them, one day the big bad wolf is going to knock on the door. Yep. That's a term that we've been told by other individuals that we've been blessed to be mentored by, but it's the damn truth. If you don't develop those skills and not necessarily being hardened where you're like a cut off kind of standpoint, but where your axe is hard enough to where when it does hit something, it's going to hold its shape.
Yeah.
And when the big bad wolf comes and knocks at the door from somebody that's earned everything they have, they're confident that, hey, we took a hit, but we'll get it all back.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting, the circle of that, because when you have earned it, you do have that confidence, and you know that the mentality and the discipline and the work ethic is what got me to where I am. So if the big bad wolf comes, I don't care. Like, I'm not worried about him coming. Yep. He probably is going to come. If he does come, it doesn't matter, because
I might go to his house.
I might go wake him up just because I'm feeling a little cocky, whatever. If I've been reading a lot and running a bunch of miles, I might just go knock on his door.
That's the damn truth, too.
But you're not worried. And I was having this conversation with my wife earlier, because we got some big projects coming up, and they're stretching us a little bit, But she's like, are you at all concerned or worried? I was like, not at all. I mean, not even a little bit. And she's like, she didn't ask why, because she knows why. She knows that I've been on both spectrums. I've been as broke as you can be, and I've been in a position where I'm not broke, and she also knows where my faith is, which is a big part of it for me too. For anybody that's a believer, like, why would I be concerned about something worldly? That doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
So, but the mentality of being able to get back to, if you know how you got there, like if you know the road, you can just drive back down the road again. Whereas somebody that got, blindfolded and put in a helicopter and dropped off somewhere, they're fucked.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, man. Yeah, for sure.
You're going to struggle on that one.
So I want to know I'm assuming you got your entrepreneurial mindset from your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what led you to where you're at now?
So insurance was definitely not like number one pick. Obviously,
I don't khaki pants or something else.
Yeah, tight pants, really tight red shirt, same as Josh's.
It's tight and black.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
So baseball ended. It didn't kind of go the way that I was wanting. The goal was to always play, for the Braves or whoever. So straight out of high school, that was the goal. Ended up getting hurt. my senior year. So like I had a bunch of teams come to watch me play, and the Cardinals and the Rockies and the Giants came to watch. Was supposed to probably get picked like in the top like
This was the high school level?
yeah. So
Damn.
supposed to probably get picked in the top, I don't know, like 5 or 6 rounds. Everything was really looking super bright. I got hurt. I didn't play my senior year. So like all that was just gone. So I went to middle, played for 3 years, thought that like some of the stuff was going to probably pick up. And then my redshirt junior year, like the coach and I just kind of had like a falling out. Just don't know why, but like my redshirt freshman year and redshirt sophomore year, I played and did fairly well. And then redshirt junior year was like, dude, like nothing. What is going on? So just prayed about it, and I was like, dude, I think I'm done. Like I just like I don't love the game anymore. So worked. I was a server for like a year. I did that. That was if you've never served,
Everybody should do it.
Yeah.
never
I think so
served,
too.
you should definitely do it because it's a very humbling job.
Yep.
It's just crazy. So that was fun. I got married in 2015. And I had no idea what I was going to do. So Lauren was going to school, and I was like, what am I going to do? So I was at a CrossFit gym, and they offered to pay me like $1,000 a month. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll live off of that. And I was like, $1,000 a month.
I
And
can,
was-
but my family can.
I was
Oh
like,
my God, go ahead.
yeah, I was like, so my rent's like $625, and I was like, then I'll have like, I got to pay for groceries, and then I was like, I'll have like $7 left over. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so I
Then-
got it.
Yeah,
So I can do
I was
it.
like, okay, so this isn't gonna happen. So there was a State Farm agent I was hiring, and I was like, dude, like I'll go work for him. Like I'll just answer phone calls and all that stuff. So talked to him. We went to eat, hit it off. So I worked for him for like a year and a half, and super awesome dude. Really owe a ton to him as far as like showing me all the business stuff. But my goal was still to like get back here, open up a gym, and do something like that.
Mhm.
Well, once I talked to him and kind of he had like some of the freedom I saw where like he didn't ask off, like he could just go, and like the thing for him is like the business kept running, like he kept getting paid. From my dad, he's self-employed, so he worked super hard, and it was cool because like he didn't have to pay anybody. But when he wasn't there, like he wasn't making money.
Right.
Right. Same for
So
my dad.
yeah, so like I was always like, why are you so stressed? Like you work so hard, like you do well. But he's like, but I'm not working now. And I was like, okay, I like what he does. I like self-employed, but I don't like that when I take a break, I don't get paid anymore.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, this guy, Chad, he's got to figure it out. He's an agent. He's doing well. And like, he can leave anytime he wants. And like, he's still getting paid. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do this. So
That looks good. I'll
Yeah,
have
I'll-
some of that.
I'll
take
have
some
that.
of that.
So I moved back here, worked for another agent for like a year and a half. A spot opened up, and I was like, all right, shoot my shot. And I got in, and then here I am. So
Nice.
it was cool, dude. Never would I have, if you would have told me I would be here right now, I'd be like, dude, I do not wear khakis. Like, I don't wear khakis. Like I don't know anything about like home insurance and all that stuff. And my calling is not home and auto. And like that's just not who I am. But I do think that I'm in a spot to where I can fund other things. Like my goal is to be able to help a lot of kids that, some of their parents can't pay for like some of the sports stuff. Because like, man, dude, my parents funded like all my sports, like took tons of time off, and dude, I swear probably spent like $600,000 or $700,000
Oh, I
just
bet.
on all sports stuff. So my goal in the spot I'm at is to be able to fund that for like other kids, like start a foundation, start a program for them to where if they have a family that like can't do it, like mom and dad working like 100 hours a week and just can't spare any other dollar, like let me just fund the whole league. Like let me buy the gloves and the balls and the shirts and the socks and the bats. Like nobody has to know that it's me, but just like let me fund the whole league and just get these kids in here and just let them play. Because like, dude, sports will change almost anybody's
I
life.
agree.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
So I mean, that's kind of the goal for me is like, home and auto is cool, and like I'll love to talk to anybody about it. But
Hit
I
me
don't-
up at.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Drop it in.
no, but I mean,
you could drop a plug if you need to.
but for me, it's just there's a bigger goal. I think God has just put me in here to go do that. So I
Yeah,
think
for
that was
sure.
His way of getting me in there to just do that. So that's kind of like the long term sort of goal as of where I am right now.
That's all.
I think that's great, and I think it's important that you have something like that. I think the fulfillment in life comes from stuff. I've talked to enough, what we call seasoned men that have done great things in their life that are just kind of at that point where it's like the goal in life is to give back, right?
Yeah.
You learn as much as you can, you work your face off, you become successful as a result of that. But the true fulfillment in life is the legacy that you build and what you give back.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. One lesson that you wish you would have known that you know now that you wish you would have known earlier on in life.
Man, that one's tough.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like
Oh
that.
yeah,
but,
no, that one's good.
because there's a lot of stuff that, and I'll give you time to think. I'm gonna stall for you. That way he doesn't have doesn't have to do extra editing and stuff. No, but
Josh loves talking, so
there's that's
a win-win.
It's a win-win for me.
Plus the
so you
camera
just-
stays on him while he's talking. So
Yeah, you just take your time.
Extra tight, baby.
extra tight. We got these in 4 sizes.
But there's a lot of stuff that we were taught early on. I say early on. It wasn't early on for me. It was in my mid-20s by guys that were really, really successful that you don't get taught in school. Like things that when you're in school that you if you don't have parents that are entrepreneurs or whatever it may be, that you never heard of. We didn't talk about finances in school. We talked about, political as far as like some of the history stuff and everything, but they didn't teach you true politics. They didn't teach you why the Constitution was so damn important for, you being a citizen of this country and certain things like that. And that money's not necessarily evil. Like there's this really bad, consensus around the fact that money's evil rather than being a magnifying glass of your character that you have today.
Yeah.
Good people with a lot of money do good things. Bad people with money do bad things. Because for a long time, I felt guilty about wanting to be rich.
Yeah, and I can say that. So I think the biggest thing for me that I wish I would have learned at a younger age is like how all the money works.
Yeah.
Like for me, because like for my dad, it was just like, hey, I'm gonna work and I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna have a mortgage, I'm gonna do some of the stocks, and that's it. And he's done well, and that's super cool for him. But for me, it's like, golly, like I wish somebody would have taught me about like just other stuff, and as far as like buying like some of the rental properties and like how you can literally make money doing anything.
Yeah,
and you don't just have to have it coming in from like just a job,
right.
and like how like it's okay to want more,
right.
And like that for me has been big because like just being where I am right now, like I want to have like a stream here and a stream here and a stream there. And then for Lauren, she's like, why? Can't you just work your job and just have one? And I'm like, I wish I could, but like, I'm just waiting for the day that the wolf does show up, and he comes, and I'm like, hey, dude, it's okay, buddy. Like
come
I'm
on
not, I'm not phased by it.
what?
Like I got 5 or 6.
You could have this one. I got 6 more.
Like,
Yeah.
so that for me is a big deal. But like
Right.
for my parents, like I was never taught that. I was never taught about like how to leverage some of your money.
Right.
And that for me is a big deal because I want to be able to like teach the kids like, hey, like this is what you can do, and why don't you start at a young age, and then all of a sudden when you're 30 or 35, you're like, oh, cool, like I don't have to work anymore because from 20 to like 35, I was hustling,
Right.
And like I built X.
Yep.
So that for me is huge because I was always taught like you work till you're 65. Granted, you can own your own business and all that stuff, and that's cool. But like you work till 65.
Yep.
And then you live life, and it's like, dude, that sucks. Like, I don't want to work till 65 and then live for another like 15 years. Like, I'd rather work from 25 to 30 or 25 to 35 and then be like, dude, like I can do whatever.
Now let's hang out.
Now I'm going to do what I want to do and make an impact because I have a bigger platform and the ability to do that, And I would agree. That's something that's really lost, because it's the progression, right? Like go to high school, make good grades, get into a college, get a job, get married, have kids, retire at 65 on less than what you were living on before you retired.
Yeah.
And just hope that you live for the next, and life expectancy has increased, but our game plan hasn't.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people like in the 90s and earlier was just like got one job and you worked and that was it. And like if you were rich, like it was because like you stole from people or like you were, you did X. And it's like, well, now all of a sudden, like you've got kids that are 17 that are making like $20 million a year. 17 years old.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
It's like there's money to be made anywhere, and obviously, like, everyone's different. Like, I mean, that's not the goal, but like for the impact you can make with the money, it's like, dude, like you can do.
Money's a tool.
Yeah, you can do some super cool things.
It's like we talked about, right? Like, there's only so much pie.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what some people think. There's only so much pie. And
Yeah.
then you have to remind them, like, the last time you ate a pie and it went away, didn't you just make another pie? Like, how have you liked pie your whole life, and now you're just realizing, and you think there's only one pie? Like that.
But
I don't
some
get
people
it, man.
think that there's just shit that's out there, and
There's
there's
certain
only
amount,
so much shit. And the fact of the matter is, you make shit. Like
Right.
that's
You
how
create.
that's how an economy works. You make shit. So as people create businesses and create jobs and all these different things, I mean, that's the thing that kills me about these people that are up against the capitalist kind of, thought process and economy and stuff is, like, we're better off now than we've ever been, from a poverty standpoint, health, all the different things. And a lot of that is thanks to capitalism. I mean, and for some odd reason, there's this evil aura around the know it's just a money thing. Money's the root of all evil and all this and that and everything. But
Well, we don't want people thinking for themselves.
right. That's exactly
Then
right.
they'll go out there and do stuff for themselves, and they won't be dependent on us. And
That's what I was about to
say.
say. If you had a bunch of wealthy, independent thinkers out there, God, it'd be hard to run that,
Be hard to control
that hill up there, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, even Bernie, there's a little meme going around with his little mittens on, which has been hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I saw you did something, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I only reason I haven't is because I don't even know how to clip the thing and put whatever. But he even put it on a sweatshirt and sold it for $45 or $50 and then donated all the money to something good, which, at surface level, you're like, oh, that's awesome, Bernie, that's great. But then on the next level, you go, wait a minute, that's capitalism.
Weren't you just preaching about how socialism is what you need?
So, you don't even believe what you're preaching.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, whoever, like billionaires and all that stuff, and you got people that are like, well, that's not fair. If he just donated X to, all of us, then, we'd be fine. It's like, dude, you got guys like Bezos that started in a garage, and you're super mad at him because he's built this massive thing, and you're like, are you going to be mad at him?
The other mindset would be like, how do I just do what he did?
And I'm over here sitting here like, dude, like, what do we got to do?
Yeah,
like,
how'd you do it?
We were.
I don't want you to hand me anything.
It's like I do want to go to space.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Like we were, I think it was like last week or something like that. Like we were looking at some of the condos just to rent, and then and I was looking at like some of the prices. Lauren's like, oh, this is cool, and I'm like, dude, let's not look at how to rent them. Like, let's try to find out how to buy them.
Yeah, let's get one.
And she's like, Trevor, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, no, like you think
what is wrong with you?
If we can buy this, then we can rent it out, and then we can go down there for free.
Yeah.
She's like, why can't we just rent one? I'm like,
I just want to go to the beach.
We don't want to rent one. Like, we want to buy them, Lauren.
Exactly
And she's like, is that how you always think? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah.
Kind of always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know you don't like it, but you like some of the benefits, right? Because like you don't have to work.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, yeah, true.
Is that how you always think? No, I also think about food, sex, and the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, okay, yeah.
Not
true.
always in that order.
Yeah.
Not always in that order. Yeah.
Sometimes I go to the gym first.
That's right. Yeah. That's the truth, though, and I think that's where we've created that disconnect. I think in this country is people don't understand. Like there's this really bullshit. God, what do I want to call it? Like this political stance that we need to have equality of destination rather than equality of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one side, and that's we talked about this previously. So, and I don't care what side you vote on. If you're listening, I don't care what side you vote on. The truth is the truth. So if you're one side believes that everybody should end up at the finish line at the same time. One side believes everybody should be at the starting line at the same time. But what you do from there is up to you. So whoever finishes first is obviously they put in more work, something worked. That's just how it works. But the other side that says everybody should finish at the finish line at the same time, well, eventually that race is going to become a walking marathon because nobody's going to run.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get to the finish line at the same time you are. But for some odd reason, one side of the political spectrum, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, I'm not going to name drop,
You already did.
They
I heard of that
believe
guy, though.
they believe like the socialism at everybody. It's not fair. Like you made that comment earlier. Well, no, it's not fair, and it shouldn't be fair. If he works harder than you, then he gets more than you do.
Yeah,
that's just how that works.
I think it's easy for them to say that though when they're not ones taking like a pay cut. They're not ones having to actually go through that.
Right.
So it's very easy for you to make $10 or $15 million a year and be like, hey, everybody should just win. Well, it's like, dude, take a pay cut then, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hand it over.
Like, show us the money. Like, if you want to do that, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then you got other guys that are like, dude, I'll just work harder. Like, I'll just figure it out myself.
You got other guys that go, you know what? I'll just be president and won't take a pay.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I don't know who those people are,
but you're a bad guy because you have some.
Yeah,
but that's I think that's one of the biggest deficits that we have in this country is, for one, lack of education on how politics truly work, because they've done. We talked about this previously too. Is one of the greatest things the devil ever did was convince people he didn't exist.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Politics have done the exact same thing. And I'm not saying they're the devil, but they're very close.
Yep.
They have basically said, you don't need to know about politics. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that.
Yep.
You guys just live here, you pay your taxes. We'll take care of all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What they want more than anything is, it's easier to control a bunch of idiots than it is to control a bunch of free thinkers that actually are educated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've got a problem there. And then we have a problem with long-term versus short-term thinking and the way that things work. A sustainable model is where you incentivize people for what they do, right? Your producers get incentivized because your producers are the ones that create jobs. They create, the market. They create the cycle and the economy and making sure that it's boosted because the money continues to roll because they spend it and they create it. The other side thinks that with everybody being fair, over time, I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're in Venezuela. I don't care if you're in Switzerland or wherever it is. You kill people's drive. That's one of the greatest things about this country is you have the freedom to win or lose as you please.
Yeah, true.
And that's what just really chaps my khakis. That one was for you. That one was for you. That was for the tight shirt comment, jerk. But that's the truth, though. I think that's where we miss it. That's where we miss the target.
Well, to your point, so you said you started as an agent by yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how it works. And now you have a team of how many?
3.
Three people that maybe they had lesser jobs before that or didn't have jobs.
Yeah,
but you essentially created 3 opportunities for somebody that wanted them.
That's what I'm like. I listen to all these people and they're like, it's not fair that he makes $100 billion a year, and it's like, dude, but look at all the jobs that like.
You know how many people Bezos employs?
Yeah, like, you work for that guy.
Yeah,
like, he's paying your salary. Well, it's like, yeah, but if he gave me a raise, it's like I mean, what, 80,000 jobs or probably more than that?
Oh,
like
well,
80 million jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So, I mean,
putting 5,000 in Nashville that are average of $150,000 a year.
What a bad guy.
Yeah, so it's like,
Go
how
earn
are
the
you
raise.
guys mad at somebody that's literally helping like the world like keep spinning? Dude?
Yeah.
I heard this story once. Todd was talking about Truett Cathy, who started Chick-fil-A, and he wrote a book, and it was on the what do you call this? Where's the place you order your food? The counter.
The counter.
Oh.
Shouldn't be a hard word.
That's
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Don't you know there's COVID?
Yeah. Actually, I don't. Most of the times I forget about it because it's forgettable.
Yes.
I really like most of the times I'm like, oh shit, y'all are still doing that, right? I forgot. Yeah.
Go
Mask
get a
on, baby.
Yeah. Well, not always.
Yeah.
But
Same.
I really do. Like, anyways, but it was on the counter back when people could eat freely in restaurants, and somebody that asked about he asked the girl that was the cashier that those jobs used to exist too, and he said, have you read this book? Is it a good book? She's like, oh, I don't have time to read that book. And he's like, you don't have time to read that book? I mean, he's the reason you have a job. And if you want to ever be more than what you're doing right now, he could probably help you get there. So it's just that mentality
Dude,
of
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is they don't want to be more, so they want.
Why doesn't he just give me more of his?
Certain sides want.
I don't want to make my own
X
pie. I
amount
want his
of-
pie.
X amount of dollars more to do the same job they've been doing because they don't want to get better, but they want to get paid more to stay average. And dude, that's okay.
It's fine.
If you want to do that, that's
It's
great.
fine.
Don't
Bitch about it.
Don't force it
and
on
don't
somebody else.
hurt somebody else because they're willing to take a risk and do something and change the world when you don't want to.
Well, don't expect to get paid disproportionately to your skill level or your effort that you put into stuff. Like
right.
that's the thing that kills me. And I talk to guys about this all the time in my full-time gig. Is I have guys come up to me and they're like, well, this isn't part of my job. Like, I don't get paid to do this and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, dude, you can keep that mindset and stay where you're at for the rest of your life. Or you can do more than what's expected of you where you're at and progress. Yep. You will naturally progress. If you will do what your boss's job is, then you will eventually have your boss's job. Yeah. It's going to work that way. Now, you're probably going to have to put in more effort, but that's the way that kind of stuff works. And I'm going to tell you, I work for a company that took on the whole, like, listening to the complainers and increasing the minimum wage and stuff where, they're making a really, really good wage for what they do.
Yeah.
And I'm not discrediting, because a lot of it is like college kids that are just trying to make some extra cash on the side and stuff like that. So it's not like their limit of where their skill level is going to be. But the fact of the matter is, those people that complain will always complain.
Oh, yeah. It could be $100 an hour, and it's like, well, can it be 150? And you're like, dude,
sure it can, but we're going to have to cut your hours and unemploy the two people that are working next to you.
Yeah, or now we have, a freaking chicken sandwich that costs $77.
Right.
And you're like, guys,
right,
something's got to
it's
give.
getting out of hand.
I heard a great quote just yesterday, and I shared it with you guys, and it says, do not cast pearls upon swine. And what it means is, if you've got great things to say and people aren't listening, stop talking to them. That goes with a lot of things. If you cater to the ones that just complain about everything, then you're going to hit a roadblock. It's going to stop. And one of the things that's funny to me is when you look at the company that I work for, it amazes me where you can give and give and give to these people that all they do is complain, and all they want to do is take and take and take and take and take. There's never any ownership in it. It's never like, hey, I'll now that you're paying me more, thank you so much. The gratitude is not there, because gratitude comes from hard work and progression.
Yeah. So I'm in a Facebook group of like a lot of agents, and dude, you talk about some negative people and just moan and groan about everything. They work. Some of them work once a month, once every 6 months. I'm like, dude, you are the highest paid person that works literally 10 hours a month, or like 10 hours every 6 months. I'm like, dude, all y'all do is moan and groan, and y'all make a decent amount of money for the work that you do, which is most of the time, for agents that are 10 or 15 years in, like hardly anything. Some still work super hard, but it's like, dude, y'all are moaning and groaning about like little stuff, and it's just like, why? Like, why do you complain about everything? They could get $100,000 raise or $100,000 bonus, and it's like, man, I just I had a sucky year though, and it's like, goodness gracious, dude, like cry about everything.
So the pearls before swine thing was Matthew 7:6. If anybody wants to reference it,
yeah,
solid.
Yeah.
Oh, is that all?
I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because sometimes we throw things out and people are like, "Where is that? What book was that? Was it? That was like in the good book. It's in the good book, in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 6.
This is the best piece of literature ever written.
Yeah, still a bestseller.
Bestseller, 2,000 years.
That's right. Okay, so who do you? So I think a lot of men tend to emulate something. They have somebody that they aspire to be and stuff. Who have you always looked at and aspired to be? That kind of drives you to be better?
Probably not one single person. There's not like just one dude that I'm like, dude, I want to be like him. Like, I think that's cool. But I mean, my high school baseball coach was a huge part of my life, just from like the where he was at and the way he sort of pushed me and the way he like sort of lived. So dude, like, and I'll honestly, I mean, I can talk to him probably once a week, and we'll just talk about like literally this stuff right here.
And you still talk to him today?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Like fires me up.
That's cool.
And so that was one guy that like really pushed me to be better and like where I was wanting to like be. But as far as like one dude or anything like that, there's not like one guy that I would want to be like, but there's multiple traits from like folks that, I'm around. I'm like, ooh, like that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Like just hanging around here, it's like, dude, like, okay, there's little nuggets that like I can learn, and like I can be more like this in like certain sort of ways. So there's not necessarily one person, but anybody I'm around, I'm trying to learn like just something new and like how can I be a little bit better, better, for the business as a dad, as a husband, as a Christian. So like what can I do to kind of change? So, and that doesn't really answer some of your questions, but that's just kind of how my mind sort of works.
I think it's a great answer because
I mean, like I'm just like that.
I want to take on the traits of people and maybe the disciplines and the habits and things like that, but who I really want to be is the best me.
Yeah, I don't want to be anybody else.
Cheesy as that sounds, I want to be the best me.
I can't, but if I can get a little bit better every single day, which I know people say all the time, but it's so true. It's like, dude, if you can just get a little bit better at your job or, as a dad, as a husband, every single day, then it's like, dude, like you got a whole lot better over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So that for me is what I'll always look at for people that like I want to be around. It's like, all right, do I want to be around this guy because he's good at X, or is he gonna help me grow?
Right.
And if not, then it's like I'll hang out with you, but like I don't want to be around you like all the time.
It's that Pareto, right? It's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
I spend 80% of my time with people that are going to make me better, and then 20% of the time with people that I care about that may not be a benefit in my life as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
I was trying to look up the name of the guy because that simple thought process of every day and every way I'm getting better and better. And I thought it was somebody else, but apparently maybe he's French, Emile Couy. Maybe he's Canadian. Maybe he's French-Canadian. Maybe he's from New Orleans. But that was he dwindled it down to like, what could I speak into myself?
Yeah.
And he's like, every day and every way I'm getting better and better.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's helped me as far as like where I want to be and like, okay, am I getting better doing this or no? And if I'm not, it's like, all right, I got to cut it out.
Yeah, scrap it. Yep. So I'm going to wrap things up, but I want you to, do you have anything else, Chris, you wanted to ask? So I want to know how you're getting better. So one of the things we like to do is we like to talk about concepts. We like to talk about theory. We like to talk about different things as far as that's concerned. But then we also like to kind of end off with things that are practical. Like what can people do? So what is Trevor doing on a daily basis, or your goals in life that are making you better, like practical things that you do?
Yeah. So with my team too, I have a saying like, hey, we got to win the day.
Yep.
So like, that's it. Like, cause like everybody, I'll get, like a call once a week, like, hey, how are you doing X? And I'm there, like, what's your goal, for the year, for the month? I'm like, dude, I don't have one. And they're like, what? I'm like, I need to win the day. Like, I don't care about the goal for the week, for the year, for the month. I mean, whatever. Like I just got to win the day. And like, if you go in my office and you ask my team that, they're like, win the day. And because they hear it all the time. Like every single meeting in the morning, they're like,
yeah,
Trevor's gonna come in and he's gonna say we gotta win the day and we gotta do this. And I'm like, dude, I know. And it's super cheesy to say, but like they understand like that's the goal every single day. So like for me, it's just like, what can I do to get a little bit better? And there's days where I suck at it. And I'm like, dude, like I was really good in the business, but as a dad and a husband, like I dropped the ball. Yep. And then there's days where I'm like, hey, business sucked, but like I can come home and be the best, dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, there's not just one thing I'm doing, but it's like being in like some of the group texts. And if I'm feeling down or something like that, like, dude, I'll just call somebody and be like, dude, like, how's your day going? Or like, I'll just try to like look up something or try to read something, like try to listen to something. Cause like, if you let some of that negative, talk in, like, dude, it's easy. It's easy to just, I mean, just let it, just spiral out. Cause like when I was first opened, like if we had like a sucky day, like I just brought that sucker home and it was bad. Like I'm pissed. And then the kids are there. And then Lauren's like, dude, where are you? Like, you're not here. And I'm like, oh, we had a sucky day. And she's like, she's been my like saving grace as far
normally they are.
Just as far as like, hey, like if you have like an awful day, like leave it there. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to turn it around. And I'm like, I know, but I wanted to do X. She's like, okay, but like you're going to have days where you fell. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like I got to win. But I think for me, I think for me, it's just like, I want to win so bad at like everything in my life that like, I just have to. Yeah. And that mindset isn't there for like everybody, but I feel like in this room, it's obviously there. So like, for me, it's just easy to like want to get better.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not doing any one thing, but like, I know that like, I know where I want to be. So I know that like, like I got to make a change.
Right. What are you reading?
Right now, 5-Day Weekend.
5-Day Weekend.
And I just finished. What is the book by freaking Matthew McConaughey?
Oh yeah,
Green Lights.
Green Lights.
Lights.
Is it good?
Yes.
Is it?
Don't read it. Listen to it.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Matthew,
because he reads it.
yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Dude, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Not like a motivational book, but just like his life story is super cool about how he's kind of overcome some stuff. Because dude, like his parents were nuts. Like
Really?
the very first story is like him and like his mom and his dad were like literally fighting each other. Like I'm talking about, she hit him in the face with like a pan, and then they like ended up having sex like on the kitchen floor. It's nuts.
Mainly because he was unconscious and she took advantage of
Yeah,
him.
it's
because of
nuts,
the pan,
dude.
but-
It's just a crazy book, but like to listen to it and
Wow.
like hear that was just like, and dude, his story's wild. Like,
I can see that.
Nothing
is-
makes me hornier than a good skillet.
yeah, dude, yeah, for real. It
Man,
was
I'm horny.
nuts just listening to it. But hearing him talk about it was solid.
Yeah, him narrating it probably does add
Yeah.
some juice to it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
JK
5-Day Weekend. I'll have to put that one in the library.
yeah,
Green
I've
Lights
read
is
that
Green
one.
Lights.
Yeah, Green. Well, he's reading 5-Day Weekend. I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
read that one.
yeah,
He's reading that. You like that one? Is it good?
yeah. Super cool. Just kind of back to what we sort of talked about earlier, as far as like having to make multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And how you can kind of live that sort of I hate to say the word passive, because like there's not like a truly like passive thing, but that's a cool book as far as like what you can do to live like a
We
passive
say
sort of-
residual
Yeah,
income.
yeah, the way that you can kind of live that sort
Yeah.
of lifestyle. So super cool read.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a good one. I'll throw that on the list.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, I want to appreciate you coming in here. Thank
Dude,
you
yep,
for
thanks
it.
for having me,
sure.
Joel.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming, dude.
I know everybody else is glad. And we love getting different perspectives, stuff. And like I said, man, I think that keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome. You're already an influence to a lot of people that you probably don't even realize it. And one day you'll have a big platform to impact a lot of people. And I believe you'll do what you want to do with sports and stuff. You'll impact a lot of kids one
For
day.
sure.
It's going to be freaking awesome, man,
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
10, 15 years from now when we're looking back going, man, we had him on the show and he was talking about how he was going to do this. And now he sponsors an unbelievable amount of kids and they're doing, what they love to do and stuff that they wouldn't have been able to do without him. So appreciate you coming, man. Keep the drive up. You're a good, you're a good light that we can point to.
Appreciate
Because
it.
that's what we're looking for is examples of, hey, man, if you don't know what to do, just be like that guy. There are guys out there that want to do some stuff
No
that's
pressure.
important,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now you have to up your game.
Yeah.
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 You got to win every day.
Yep. Every day.
So cool. Well, guys,
One thing, how can people find you?
Facebook, Trevor Haggard.
yeah.
Instagram at JT Haggard, or the website trevorismyagent.com.
There you go.
Nice. There we go.
Nice. Hey, I do like how you engage people on Facebook,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Like
thanks,
you
man.
do a
I
really
really
good
do.
job of
Appreciate
that.
it.
Yeah, you do. You got a lot of people that interact with you constantly.
That's been cool, dude. I've kind of like learned that because
Yeah.
like State Farm is iffy on like what you can and you can't post. I mean, there's 19,000 agents, so like you
Sure.
got to kind of be smart with it. But for me, I was like, all right, what can I post just to like talk to people?
Just get
so
attention,
now all of
yeah.
a sudden, like I'll just get like random texts like, dude, like I haven't seen a post this week. I'm like, oh crap, dude, sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So like,
I figured you're pretty consistent. Now it makes sense,
yeah.
That's
So
but
it's
it
been
is cool. Yeah, it's real good interactive stuff, and it's entertaining too. I mean, when I'm flipping through there, I always look for that Trevor post. Like, what's he talking about today? He's always got a good question in there somewhere.
Love it.
And easy questions too, so people want to answer. So
yeah, for sure.
it's good stuff though, man. But thanks for being with us, man. Everybody that's listening right now, obviously you guys can go to shepherdsof.men and check out our website. All of our platforms are on there. The episodes, you can go back and listen to all the episodes that are in here. We'll put some resources in there based off of some of the things that we talked about in some of the books. You can go in there and hit the join button. Keep in mind, guys, we're going to be putting together the Men Reforged program that is coming very soon. It's really going to tell you how to take yourself to another level. We want to help men become what they were called to be. We believe men were called to be leaders in our society, and we have done a really poor job of that up to this point. But we're going to change that shit. we're gonna fix it. If you have any problems with association, integrity, etiquette, confidence, vision, work ethic, any of those areas that you feel like you can sharpen yourself, and that was a trick question because there's somewhere in there that you can get better. We're gonna have a plan for you that's gonna be really exciting and stuff. So be looking out for that. Go to shepherdsof.men, like our videos on YouTube. Go join. Appreciate you guys listening in here. We can't do this without you. We could, but it'd be boring, like we said. So spend the moving.